Hey everyone, today I'm going to share our mid-year update for my 7th grader. We finished our first semester, or our first 18 weeks of school, and yeah, so I just thought I'd kind of do a wrap-up video for that first semester. I think I've been pretty good about updating on her things throughout the year, but I think for sure my 7th grader is where we've had to make the most amount of tweaks and schedule changes and things like that. But for the most part, things are still going relatively well. We're not really behind, I don't feel like, in anything. And that's, pretty much unheard of for us. So, that is good. So basically, we're consistently working. Whether we are exactly where I thought we would be in certain curriculums is debatable, but it's not for lack of consistency. So let me show you what she's finished so far this year, and then I'll kind of show you where we are and everything else. She has not finished as much as my 4th grader has, just because her curriculum is a little bit more involved. So anyway, I do have my binder for her just like I do for my 4th grader. I'm still getting all of her stuff in it though. I've got my file folder here. This is all the work that I have saved from the first semester, and then I'll go through. This has already been pared down, and then I will kind of weed through it a little bit more as I decide what to put in the binder to keep. All right, so let me get into her individual subjects. So she had a Friday notebook just like my 4th grader did, and that went fine. This will be changing next semester because our schedule is going to change a little bit, but for the most part, she had a daily math review. She had a mind benders thing that she did. She had some of her learning how to learn, answering questions in here, stuff like that. So that was good. She's done with that. Let's see, she finished her comic arts. This is volume 1, and she will move on to volume 2 eventually. I had her do a final project, so she did that. And then when she finished that, she moved on to You Can Draw in 30 Days. And so that's what she's currently working through. And when she finishes that, then she will go on to Comic Arts 2. So I thought that was really cute. She's been working through that and seems to like it for the most part. So that's art. All right, learning how to learn. She is pretty much finished with this. We read through the book. She answered questions about it. She watched some related videos on Coursera, and then I made a final project for her, which she has completed. The only thing she hasn't completed for this is her reflect and report on her experience, because her final, the project that she chose was to study for a Latin test, and she took that test our last day of school before winter break. So she still has to do that part, but I thought her little drawing there was really cute. So she did this, and it worked relatively well. The plan she came up with for her final project. She also put together her personalized learning toolkit, which is here. She chose what she wanted to put in here, and so that's that. This was good. I'm glad we did this, and I thought it went well. She and I did this mystery disease problem-based learning. She really enjoyed it. this is not one by Royal Fireworks Press, and it's a little different just in its setup. There's a lot of like memos and things like that. It was fun. I felt like there needed to be a little more guidance. I know that kind of the premise of these is to be kind of student guided, but it was a little bit challenging. And there was like, it was a little shocking because basically you had to figure out why people were getting sick and like where it was coming from and the best way to stop it. And I felt like there were a couple places in here where if you didn't get to the answer, it's like someone died, which was a little like shocking. And I was we had at first weren't going to do this because there's a little bit of anxiety in our house with like illness and diseases and things like that. But we talked about it ahead of time. She looked through it and she said she really wanted to try it, and she did really enjoy it. Even that part, it was shocking to her, but it was okay. We got through it. But there's no answer that I could find in here, even for me to like see if she was on the right track. I don't know. I thought this was challenging, but it was good. She definitely needed my support with it though. And I think in general, any student probably would, unless they were much older. This is for grades 5 to 8. So, you know, I don't know, but we got through it. She enjoyed it. And I think that she learned a lot. So she finished her Thriving with ADHD workbook. So that was good. And I think, let's see. Oh, she is done with, for the most part, she's done with sewing. I had gotten her this learning how to sew kit, and then she also had an embroidery set in here, which she does not enjoy the embroidery as much. I just wanted her to practice like her hand stitching a bit. But that was her elective for this semester, and so she did some things. A few of them I've showed before. She made a cell phone case. She made a little felt, like layered pin. She did some little mini embroidery hoop work. She did this little like button tree. She made a sleeping bag for one of her stuffies. And so that was good. I mean, I really just wanted her to practice some of that stitch work. And I think she has a good enough knowledge base that she can continue on and do some of the projects that she wants to do. So that's good. Let's see what else. Okay. Latin. We are doing volume 1 of the Big Book of Latin from Lively Latin. It's going okay. She started to struggle when we got between like units 5 and 8. And so we backtracked, we redid some stuff. This one is a little difficult because I am not doing it with her. I'm not learning it alongside with her, I guess I should say. And so, excuse me, that makes it a little bit more difficult for me to help her. So we're moving a bit slower through this because I don't want to just plow through if she's not solid on something. So I am looking for other things to kind of supplement this as we go. I still would like to finish out the volume. And then we will see if we're going to move on to volume 2 next year or not. But I think a lot of good has come from this, but it's definitely something that I have to kind of keep my eye on, and I definitely have to supplement or offer a lot of support with it. The first like 4 units went like fantastic. And like I said, she started to struggle a little bit in those last 3 or 4 units. So this was like her project from Learning How to Learn. she created around her Latin test to kind of help her study and retain some of this. So that was actually a really good tie-in. But anyway, for the most part, it's going all right, and we're getting through it. Oh, but having said that, we're not as far in this as I thought we would be at this point in the year. But like I said, I don't want to plow through just to keep some arbitrary schedule. I want to make sure that some learning is happening. So that is that. Let's see. Fix It Grammar is going great, as it always does. She's right where she's supposed to be. We will start week 19 when we come back from break, and that is a 30-week program. Lightning Lit and IEW Structure and Style. I made a whole other video about how we were kind of adjusting her schedule to make both of these fit, and that is going well. I don't have Structure and Style out right now. She just finished actually Alice in Wonderland. So we will start week 18 when we come back from break, and then I mentioned in my other video, we're pulling out the poetry, and she'll do that probably in the summer if we do it. And I had to kind of tweak some stuff in here so that I could alternate this with IEW, so she wasn't doing them in the same week. She also read Prairie Lotus, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I'm trying to think what else. She did The Hobbit. She did a humor unit, nonfiction unit, and a bunch of short stories and things. When we come back from break, she has a short story, and then she'll move into Elijah of Buxton. So this is going well, but it is to me, it's a big jump from, well, the last Lightning Lit that we worked with was grade 5. So I don't know if it's a big jump from grade 6 or not, but to me, there's a lot. This is pretty robust, and it definitely takes some time to get through. There's a lot of lesson pages typically. So I have found that it's best for me to do this with her. Typically there's a reading selection, and then there's some questions about it, and then there's like the meat of the lesson. So day 1 is, like in this unit, there's a reading selection, these questions, and then this lesson when you're done with that. And then typically there's a writing assignment that goes with it. So that's a lot on day 1. And then day 2, there's more reading, answering questions, and then a lesson, and then an activity that goes with the lesson. So anyway, it's going fine. It's just a lot. And so I really needed to make sure that I was giving the time in our schedule for her to do this correctly. So anyway, we're on track with that. Let's see. Science, I don't have her volume 1. She did Biology 1. She finished that first semester and started Biology 2 in the second semester. So I think she'll start lesson 12 when we come back from break. So these are, designed to be, I think, semester-long courses. So she did Biology 1, even though I don't have it here for you, and she'll move on to Biology 2. We really like Science Mom. We're big fans. It's working well. All right. For math, she's still doing the 6th grade Math with Confidence Pilots. And we finished unit 7, I think. Yeah, we finished unit 7 before break, and then we're waiting for unit 8 to come out, and we'll print that, and she'll start that in our second semester. So that's going well. I've added in extra little things. This has been kind of our core math, but I have added in extra things throughout. We have been doing notebooking just to support when we learn a concept in here. Then I'll find the interactive notebook pages to go with it, and she does those in here. So that's something that we added in fairly early on and are continuing because it works well. In fact, when we come back from break, before we jump into this, we've got probably 5 notebooking pages to do to kind of review what we did first semester. So we have that. And then also for math, as a group subject, we've been doing multiplication fluency in the morning, fluency practice, and that will come to an end pretty soon. But what I added in, and this will continue on, is Math UC Gamma. So this is very easy for her right now, but I really wanted to spend some time trying out the mastery approach. I'd always kind of dismissed it in the past because I feel like she needs constant repetition. But when I really started to dive into how Math UC does the mastery approach, it kind of made a lot of sense for a kid like her who I suspect has dyscalculia. We're in the process of evaluations right now. But I think that this might actually be a good fit. We're using it as a supplement. And I think that that combination is good right now too. So anyway, she does this every day because it's super simple right now. She does a few pages and she moves through them pretty fast. She watches the DVD lesson at the beginning of the week. We're not super far. Eventually, this will start to take a little bit more time as we get more towards the back of the book probably. But I like that this is filling in any gaps in her foundation and strengthening it. So that is something that we added in for her, but we have stuck with this kind of as our core. And will that balance change in the future? I don't know, but right now that combination seems to be working really well. So that is math for her. Next up we have history, and she is doing Curiosity Chronicles Snapshots of Modern History Volume 1, and she does 1 chapter a week, so she is right where she is supposed to be. We will be starting week 19 when we come back from break. We're still tweaking the best way for her to retain this information. She does the timeline with it, and she does some of the activity pages. One thing we introduced this partway through the semester was some note taking. We did some Cornell note lessons, and this also tied in with our Learning How to Learn book. And then we worked on doing some note taking as we're listening to and reading the chapter. And that's been helpful for her then to take those notes and use them when she does the comprehension questions in here. I think that this process is going to be tweaked just a little bit more, but it's definitely going much better. We had also started practicing the race strategy for writing. And I shared a whole other video about this, but we have kind of tied this strategy somewhat into her history. And I feel like that has been helpful, and we will continue to pull this in and then to occasionally practice the strategy with the pack that I got from Teachers Pay Teachers. But that has been a really good addition to history specifically, but we reference it in a lot of our different subjects. So typically she does the vocabulary and the comprehension questions, and sometimes I have her do the map work. It just depends. And then she does the timeline. That's how history is going, and she's on track to finish this. It's a 36-week program, so she is on track for that. I think that is most of her independent or individual work. Okay, popping in here real quick because I forgot to update on our vocabulary. I made another video about this, and a couple of you asked for an update on how it was working. I will link the video that I did about this, but we stopped doing our Xander Bloser vocabulary for her and added in the Freyer model or method for vocabulary and just pulling words from her different curriculum, from history or science or her literature. It is going fine, except like the only issue that I have is what we decided we need to like actually schedule this in as a separate subject rather than just doing it during the subject where we're pulling the words from, if that makes sense. So for us to be consistent with it, I need to actually schedule it in as a separate line in her planner. But essentially we have the word and we define it, we list characteristics of it, examples and non-examples, and then I usually have her do a sentence, pull the sentence from, like this was from history where the word was, and then I have her write her own sentence with the word. So it's still going fine. I think it's effective. It just takes more planning and prep on my part. And so I need to make sure that I'm on the ball with that. And then, as I said, we're going to start scheduling it in as a separate subject line in her planner to make sure that it's getting done consistently. So other than that, it's going well, and I think it's working. I probably forgot something, but for the most part, I think that's everything. So if you have any questions, let me know down below. I will make another video on kind of what our plans are for second semester and kind of a schedule update video probably. If you have any questions, I would love to talk to you down in the comments.